What are we making today?
So we're gonna do 125 of our Detroit doughs.
Yeah.
And then I guess time permitting, you could also watch me do 16 of our New York doughs.
Do you always make 125?
No, so every day is different. Right now we're like between 800 to 1,000 pizzas a week here.
Okay.
So some days, so on Monday we did like a big day, we did like 200. And then I didn't do any yesterday because I cooked lunch by myself, completely alone. So I don't have time to do dough as well. But then today we'll start to get ready for the weekend. So we'll do 125 today, and then we'll kind of ramp up like 150, 175 tomorrow. And then we're kind of getting up to Fridays, we'll do up to like 200 pizzas. Saturdays, we'll do 250 to 300. And then Sundays, we'll do 2 to 250 again. But we don't like to do all those doughs because it's so much labor and time. So I like to get ahead of the weekend a little bit. So we're doing maybe 100, maybe 125 Saturday, and the same for Sunday.
Is it not faster to like bulk everything, or more efficient to just bulk everything and do it at once? Because I also break up my dough schedule.
Yeah.
But I do it because I have like maybe an extra hour or two to break it down.
Sure.
I also have limited space.
Yep. I like to keep, the reason I do it that way is I don't like to have dough on hand for more than 48 hours. Because I keep them all at room temp. So all of the doughs that are par baked are just kind of hanging out like loaves of bread.
Gotcha.
So I don't want them to get like too old, too dry, or eventually have mold. That's the biggest killer of these, especially in the summer with the humidity.
Makes sense. Okay,
Yep.
Cool. That's smart.
Some people do obviously fridge them, freeze them. We just don't, just because I like to just get through them quicker than that.
Gotcha.
So I always do the yeast first in my bowl so I know that I have it and I don't forget it.
Ooh, don't want to forget that.
So we're pretty heavy yeast ratio these days because we're going for, from the time we mix this here, from the time we start this mix to the time that I want these to be ready to par bake is like 2 to 3 hours. So we're pretty quick on our rise. And I kind of do that because that's like traditional Detroit anyway. Like Detroit dough is like a 2-3 hour rise. So we're just trying to be somewhat quick with them, get them rose, and then par bake them to lock in that rise and the poofy kind of texture.
Yeah. So you're trying to go for more traditional dough.
More traditional dough, but we use 40% of this dough is poolish. So that's where I bring in the like kind of artisan aspect of it. So we have a poolish we did last night that's been room temp for about 14 hours now. So that's where we get that extra flavor, that extra everything on top of a more traditional kind of like cheaper, I shouldn't say cheaper, more of like a fast-paced dough. Yeah.
I hear you.
So once I got the yeast in, then I'll go for flour. We use a blend of flour here.
I saw a red rose bag.
Yeah, so that red rose is actually going to be new to me.
Okay.
The reason is because this is Central Milling's Artisan Baker Craft Plus, which is their full organic line. I just learned about Red Rose Artisan, which is literally this exact flour, but non-organic.
Gotcha.
And for me, I don't really have a need for the organic use because the rest of the pizza is not organic.
Yeah.
So I like how this flour performs. I like how it looks and tastes. So I figure I'll just switch and save over half the price to get the non-organic.
Half the price for organic.
Yeah, so these sacks right here, like 56. That Red Rose is 26.
Sheesh.
So we're going to make that change.
That's nice.
Yep.
That's a good healthy savings right there.
I just found out about that actually a couple days ago. So we are 75% Artisan Baker Craft Plus, or soon to be Red Rose Artisan. And I'm going to go ahead and dump this in the mixer here.
Cool. So you use this mixer for what?
This we use, so when I was saying some days we have to do a ton of dough. So that mixer can only do I don't like to do more than 200 in that mixer.
60 liter over there? Or
It's a spiral, so they go by. It's not by quart. It's a Sun Mix 60.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, 60 liter. Yeah.
Gotcha.
This was my first mixer. This is what I got in the pop-up days, and we kept it. So I'll do test batches in this. Gotcha. I'll do the New Yorks because it's not a lot.
Yeah.
Or on super busy days in the summer, when we need to do more than 200 in a day, we will also fill this with dough too.
Plus the KitchenAid. No, I'm just kidding.
Plus the KitchenAid. KitchenAid is for the gluten-frees.
That makes sense.
Okay, we are 25% T85.
Ooh, you're getting fancy.
Yeah.
What do you use? Is it
Central Millings as
Central
well.
Millings T85?
Central Millings T85. This one is organic.
What do you find that does for your dough?
So the T85, when I got the T85 and I started to play with it, I noticed that it was able to absorb the water better.
Ton of water, yeah.
And it gave a really rich, dark malt that I was looking for, because my one like pet peeve, especially with like New Yorks, is a really white crust.
Yeah.
A really, not even golden brown, but like just a super kind of limp looking white crust. I hate it. And once I started using this with the malts, it allowed me to do two things. It gave me a richer, darker, deeper brown. It gave a little bit of that whole wheat flavor.
Yes.
But really what it did was it allowed me to push hydration and still have it be like really user friendly.
Right.
So this dough is 70% hydration, but I think once you see it come out of the mixer,
Feel like 65?
yeah, it handles a lot better than when we were using just straight bread flour.
Tight. Okay. I haven't used T85 yet, but it's been on my list. Every pizzeria seems to use it. And like, I love the flavor of the pizzerias that use it. It does give it a more rich, malty flavor, like you said. Like, it has that darker brown without like over baking it.
Mm-hmm.
So I know what you're saying. Like, a blonde pale pizza is like unappetizing to me.
Yeah, it's like my least favorite thing.
But then when you try to over bake it and you end up burning the pizza or it gets too dry to get that color,
it's not the same either.
It's not the same. You're doing your pizza a disservice. So I feel like this is a good balance.
So actually, technically what I do, but I'm not doing it today because we ran out a couple days ago. We're actually 20% T85. We're 5% spelt.
Oh, you are very fancy.
Yep.
Okay, so what does the spelt do? I've never even played with.
So I used to, the spelt came in when, the spelt came into the picture when I had a buddy in town who was exclusively a baker. And we were talking dough, we made dough, we did a little pop-up. And he was like, oh, you should try spelt flour. And so I went looking into spelt flour, and that's what I used first before T85.
Yeah.
And that kind of got me down the rabbit hole of allowing for a higher hydration, a tighter dough. So I used to be 90% bread, 10% spelt. But spelt's very expensive. And once I found T85, I thought it was similar to spelt, but not as aggressive in the flavor and the texture, because spelt is really, I mean, that's really like a super whole grainy type thing. So we've kind of dialed off the spelt down to 5%. And online, most people in pizza dough don't go above 5 or 10% on spelt. So I like that 5 because I think it just gives that extra even layer of depth and like artisan nature to it. Like, I don't know anyone using spelt in the area, and even like reps I talked to are like, what do you want spelt for? Type of thing. So I think it adds an extra element.
Yeah, it's definitely giving you that. I think there's a balance between like putting your mark on your dough and also like making it too hard. And I think like 5% maybe is the reason why it's like enough to just put your identity in it, but not make it too crazy.
Yep, exactly. I would agree with that. I'm going to go grab the jugs of water so I can weigh them. And then then we'll get salt and oil, and then we're good.
The best Stillwater has to offer. Ice Mountain.
Ice Mountain. Dude, he only had like 5 too.
You're so lucky, dude. When I looked at it, I was like, wait, that's all you have?
Maybe he didn't know they didn't have water yet. I beat him to the punch.
Do you want the story of what's going on the podcast?
We can. I can send you a video of the broken water main.
So we for the record, we did wash hands today.
We did, yeah.
And
we got a Sandy bucket over there.
And we are using jugs of water because
I have no water.
Because we have no water, and Stillwater, Minnesota is flooding. I saw it on Google Maps. It says flood warning. And maybe I should have warned you, but
Yeah.
I just decided to come anyway. Oh, shit.
And honestly, 5 minutes before you showed up too.
Oh, my goodness.
Couldn't have been,
Perfect
I don't know,
timing.
better or worse timing, but
It's fun. It
could have
makes it
happened
exciting.
any other day of the week. Any other time before today.
So how you said 69% hydration?
We're 70. Yep, we're 70.
Jeff Rogers uses
Is he
69.
69?
He's like, because
It's so fucking funny. That is Jeff. So. It's funny. I can see him saying it too. I can't wait to see that.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Oh man. All right.
So, got flour, salt. So we also use sea salt and olive oil.
Okay.
Those are the last two things that go into our dough. So in that regard, we're traditional. It's flour, yeast, water, salt, and oil is the kind of, some people do, some people don't.
Yeah.
But nothing else. No sugar, no extra malt. The T85 gives me the malt, which I love.
Uh-huh.
And I believe Artisan has enzymes. I don't think it's malt, but I think there's bromate-esque enzymes in them.
You'd know more than me. What percentage salt?
I haven't looked at this recipe. I think it's 2.5. I think it's 2.5.
Yeah.
I know in my New York right now, I'm at 2.25, and I think I'm going to up that a little. I think this is 2.5. This recipe, this base recipe, I've been doing for like over 2 years now, so I've kind of lost track of that one.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so salt. We use imported sea salt for ours.
Why?
I like the smaller granule. I think it absorbs better than the kosher salt. And you'll also see when we mix in, actually do a late salt addition. So this is going to go near the very end. So I want it to get incorporated faster than kosher does.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah, we do salt and oil at the end.
Do you know your oil percentage?
It's 2.5.
Okay.
It's the same as salt.
25. Do you use La Padella for your oil?
No, we use Corto 100. The finest California olive oil you can find.
Thank you, Vanna. Look at that. You even got the arm right here showing it off. Why do you use oil in your dough? Because I know a lot of people don't. And some people will say it's an added cost, which is why they don't do it. And I get it. But why do you choose to use it?
I use it because I think it helps with the tenderness.
Mm-hmm.
I think it gives more of a softer, supple chew. And I do believe it helps a bit with the crunch on the outside. Although our Detroit, the dough is not super crunchy on the bottom unless I like deck it or get a really, really hard bake on it. But I think it helps with the nice, the tender nature of the bite.
Sure.
It's kind of just how I learned for this recipe. And I've never really omitted it. I know some people go like really high on oil. Like I know like Anthony Falco, I think, in Pizza Czar. I mean, I think he has some recipes up to 10%. I've never played that far up.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would come out. But no, I like it. But it is definitely, especially using 100% olive oil. I mean, it's a bigger cost, but I think one of the things that I learned when I was taking like the slow rise classes, which is how I learned how to do dough, Noel was like, pizza dough is inherently cheap. So you should use the highest quality ingredients you can because it's traditionally a cheap item. So, I'm using organic flour, Stillwater's finest, gas station water, but like imported sea salts, 100% olive oil, spelt, T85. I mean,
good shit.
Yeah, it's expensive, but it's, I care about how the dough tastes and reacts and how it looks, so it's worth it to me.
And in the grand scheme of things, each dough ball or each shell is?
Each dough ball, I believe at this current price, is like 30 cents.
Speaking of quality, here's a quality segue to our sponsor, Corto Olive Oil. What oil do you use to press out your dough? I found out that whatever fat you use greatly affects your pizza. And that's why the only brand that I trust with my pizza is Corto Olive Oil. Taste is everything, and other brands pale in comparison. Do you want to taste the difference? Learn more about Corto Olive Oil using the link in the description below. If you're an operator, you can get a free tasting. Just message me and I'll connect you with them. Thanks to Corto for sponsoring this video. Now, back to the episode.
You know what I mean?
Thank you for knowing your numbers.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Yep. Cool. We have everything, so we can line it up all here and switch.
Your poolish is what percentage? 100?
Yes. Yep.
And then how much yeast? Depends on the day?
Depends on the day. They probably put 5 grams in that.
Okay.
It's very, very, very small amount.
And is it,
So they would have put, that's 820, that's 8250 flour, 8250 water, 6 grams of yeast. And that was 14 hours ago.
do you use the essential milling?
Artisan
Baker's?
Yes, Artisan Baker Craft Plus is what we use for the poolish.
Cool. So you were saying you use the poolish overnight. It's Artisan Baker's Plus.
Yep. 40% of the total dough.
Gotcha.
And this is a new move I've been doing in the last couple days, but I've actually been going water first and breaking up the poolish.
Yep. Why do you do that?
We were doing it out of necessity when we had 175 or 200 because we couldn't get the flour in here, or you get the flour in here and it would just like fall all over.
Yeah.
But now I'm kind of doing it as I learned with my New York dough, because I break that apart by hand before I start the mix. And I was also reading in Modernist Cuisine, they recommend breaking up the poolish by machine before you start the mix. So I think it helps it incorporate a little quicker and just come together a little nicer.
Yeah. I like to think of like water as a vessel for your like dough. And so like if you're breaking that poolish down into more water, incorporation makes it easier and I guess evenly distributed.
Sure.
Yeah. At least that's how I look at it for sourdough.
I would agree. I would agree with that. Yeah. So just not long on that, maybe a minute or so to kind of get it going.
Gotcha.
And then we do all our flour at once. We had our yeast in there.
Would you say you've outgrown your mixer?
I would not say we've outgrown it, but I would say that it is the right size for this building for most instances.
Yeah.
But I would not say it's too big, unfortunately.
Just on days where you have like the summer months.
Yeah, yep. When we're super busy or we got super wiped out, we have to make a lot on a set day. Then it does get tough and we do have to use the secondary mixer. We're looking at down the line. Like I pop up in Hudson twice a week right now. That might be the same kind of volume, maybe a little less than like a food truck down the line. So it might get tough here if we have growth out of this building. It might get difficult to hit the dough production we need with this one. But ideally down the line, if I get a second location or a different concept, then I'd probably get a bigger mixer or a different mixer. But it works for now.
Why'd you choose Sunmix?
Sunmix, truthfully, I liked the technology and I liked the price point.
What's the cost? Do you remember the cost for this?
This was under 11, and most other ones of this size were 12 to 15. I did a lot of research. I know Adam Alpaya has one of these. I've talked with him a lot before I bought this.
Yeah.
And then when I was at Expo, before we opened this, so in 2021 or 2022, I looked at a bunch of spiral mixers on the floor, and this was the one with the nicest features and the best price. So I just went for it. Awesome.
Sunmix is pretty popular.
Some mixes are nice. It's tough. The only downside is they come from Italy, but they come through it's kind of like a third party basically. And so if you have any issue, there's no repair out here at all.
Really?
So that's
too bad.
kind of the risk you run with having these, but knock on wood, I have had zero issues. This thing works great. So,
is it Sun Goods that you get?
Yes,
from?
Sun Goods, yeah. So they get in shipping containers of them, and then they have them. This just came via courier.
Yeah, that does make it tough.
Yeah. Yep.
Or
So,
there's a potential risk.
there is a little bit.
Yeah.
So there's value with maybe going with a different vendor, something like that. But
what are you looking for?
so on this first wave, it's about 4 or 5 minutes, just trying to bring it together. And then we'll stop it. We'll scrape down all the bits, and then we'll kind of let it wait 2-3 minutes or so. And then we'll hit it in reverse for 30 seconds.
Ooh, and why do you hit it in reverse?
So that was something I learned watching Brian Spangler. That was something that I saw in his videos. He said it pulls everything up from the bottom. So all those little flour bits or any loose bits, it pulls it up and it kind of chops it up in a different way. So when you go forward again, it really just like tightens right back up and gets where you want it really quick.
I gotta see this one up and like real close, because I never would do reverse because I would always find that it would just go up.
Oh, up? Yeah. And it will go up a little bit, but what do you have?
I have a famag.
Okay. Like the smaller, like a tabletop one?
Tabletop one.
Okay.
Yeah. You said after this, we're going to wait a couple minutes, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, just to let it incorporate and chill.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we'll do the reverse thing, right?
Yep. Yeah. In about a minute here, I'll scrape it.
Oh, you scrape it just to bring everything together.
Yeah, I just want to get these there's some flowers on on like the crossbar here and just kind of up on the sides. I just like to get it all folded in.
Gotcha.
So yeah, we're about close. Once I'm seeing like no big pockets of either wet poolish or dry flour, that's when I call it good on this first wave. I'd say we're about 90% there. And we'll just let that chill, hang out for a couple minutes, and then we'll hit it in reverse.
Nice. I can't wait to see that.
Sweet.
Let me see it.
You want to get up close to that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So reverse is going to just be like a 30-second thing, but it's definitely going to go up the sides, but you can kind of see how it's folding it all in a different way. You also can kind of hear it. There's those little kind of like air pockets kind of coming up. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if they can hear it on the microphone, but I can definitely hear that.
Yep.
There's that subtle nuance of, it almost sounds like the dough's ready.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep. Yeah.
That's pretty neat, dude.
Yeah, man.
That is neat.
Brian.
It's Brian.
That's all I saw.
All right. So we're back on the mix now.
Yep. Finish it off.
We waited just a little bit more.
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
And now you're going to hit it with salt and oil?
Yep. So I'll start it up right away. And then I hit it with the salt. And I don't know if you can probably see this, but you can look and it's like, it's pretty well, almost like I said, kind of instantly coming together.
Yeah.
So I'll get that salt in there. I wait about a minute for it to get folded in and absorbed.
It has a good smell to it, dude.
Yeah.
It has a really good smell to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that combination, like the Polish and the T85 is really fragrant. Both the flowers we're using are really they smell nice.
That's what's up. Yeah. I once bought coarse sea salt.
Oh yeah?
Dude.
Like flaky salt?
Or
just coarse, yeah.
Just straight up coarse, man. And like, it's the hardest thing to incorporate. So like the grind size of salt is so important.
It matters, yeah. Some people whisk it into their water too.
Yeah.
I've maybe played around with that. That's not something I've ever thought about doing, but definitely helps. So now this salt is absorbed. You can kind of see that it's like looking kind of moist on the outside of the dough there. And then I'll just slowly hit it with the oil. I don't like to hit it all at once.
Why don't you like to hit it all at once?
I like to slowly incorporate it over the whole mass of the dough so it can like fold in evenly. Because really at this point, now that we've added this, basically once you don't see the oil anymore, it's done.
Gotcha.
So the oil's kind of coating the like gluten structure that you've created, and you can kind of slowly see it encapsulating the like, I don't know, you call them the ribbons or looking for also like a pumpkin, people call it. Yeah, pumpkin-y. So it's just kind of like coating those strands, and once it's just fully incorporated, we call it good.
You're not looking for crazy development here, huh?
No, and that is because it's a pan pizza.
Right.
So actually, I would probably say this dough is a little undermixed, and that's okay because it's going in a pan where I kind of want it slack so we can cut it easily, we can press it easily, and yeah, not have to fight the dough so much.
Right.
The New Yorks, that's a lower hydration. I don't do oil. I want that to be nice and tight and taut so I can ball it. But this stuff, yeah, we go pretty undermixed. I'd say maybe 85, 90%.
Yeah. It's a short mix. You're using a lot of rests.
5 minutes, 5 minute mix, 5 minute rest, 30-second reverse, 5 minute rest. This will take 5 to 7 minutes. And then we usually we'll sometimes give like a 10, 15, 20 minute rest. I think today, for timing's sake, we'll probably just yank it out in like 5 minutes just to kind of get moving on it.
Very interesting.
There's like a sweet spot, like if you can wait. So usually the person will like mix and wait, and then that's the time we'll like scrape out our pans and get them clean for the day. But we already did that because we're ahead, so
that's great.
It's a good time for that.
Yeah. I'm like wondering now, like if I've been doing it wrong my whole life and just like over mixing my pan pizzas.
I think for me, it got a lot easier. A lot of the problems that I was having, I was like blaming on the flour or the recipe or whatever. I think a lot of it did come down to over mixing.
Is there a benefit though to creating a bunch of gluten strands structure by mixing to 100% and like taking your time to press out the dough ball?
I'm sure someone will say yes. For me, I don't think so. For my product, I mean, you know, I get a pretty good airy structure. It's a tighter crumb. If you were trying to go for the larger, very open, super
big holes,
photogenic, yeah, the super big holes, yes, probably. But there's a trade-off for that, right? You know, like it's a lot of time. It's more of a, I don't know. It depends how much you can do and how much you're trying to do. Like if I was going to make 1 or 2 pizzas for myself, yeah, maybe I'd ball it, cool it, press it out over 4 stages, dimple it, stuff like that. And it'd be really good, but also I think this product is good for, you know, the volume we're at. You know what I mean?
There's a difference between like making one pizza and like the thousands. Yeah.
Yep, there totally is.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense.
So you can see here the oil is virtually gone. It's definitely fully incorporated. It's a little tighter than I'd like, but once we stop and let it relax, it'll get to a good spot. So
why is it tighter than you like? What did we do differently?
This is kind of the ending point, if I'm being honest. I could let it go longer and give it those more like uniform pumpkin kind of spirals, but I think that gets back to that kind of undermixing thing we were talking about. If I were to let this rest for like 20 minutes and then hit it again,
it'll come together.
It would come together and we would get that really nice, tight outer kind of shell. Mm-hmm. But for me, it's not necessary because, like I say, it's going to go in a pan. We're going to press it.
Gotcha.
So I wouldn't say it's essential.
Yeah.
So I'm going to call that good.
Cool. Right
there on that mix. And we'll let that relax 2-3 minutes, and then we'll slap it on the table here.
Nice. Oh, one quick question before I forget. You can do your thing, but like cleaning Detroit pans, is it just a matter of scraping them out?
Yeah, we just scrape them. Yep. We just take a bench knife here. We scrape out all the cheese bits or the grease from the night before. You know, there's going to be a little bit of kind of residual
Stuff.
but they're
Crust.
being used every day. So
Yeah.
in lieu of doing like Crisco or oil or stuff, I mean, these are really nice and seasoned. I don't have any issue with pizzas coming out, anything like that. So
Gotcha.
we just scrape out all the big, huge pieces, and then we stack them up and fill them back up.
Nice. 10 by 14 and 8 by 10s.
We do both sizes here. When we started, I only did 8 by 10s, and that's how we did it for a long time. I added the larges fall, winter last year, and people love the 2 sizes. People love larges for whatever reason. Yeah.
They think they're getting a deal, you think?
I think so, but it's always funny to me because I also think that like people don't realize how big this pizza are, and there'll be like a table of 2 or 3, and the ticket will come back for 2 or 3 larges.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, that's a lot of pizza, and then every time without fail, the servers show up to the table and they're like, oh my gosh, that's so much pizza. Like, I told you.
Cost for a large cheese and a small cheese?
I'm at 16 right now for a small cheese. And we're at 28 for a large cheese. I'm $12 more on all my larges. So it is kind of a deal because it is literally 2 times the ingredients. It's 2 times the cheese, 2 times the toppings, 2 times the dough. So instead of me being 16 and 32, it is 12 versus 16.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yep.
I didn't realize it was that easy to scale. Double.
Speaking of deals, here's a message from one of our sponsors, Bacio Cheese. Do you need some amazing cheese for your pizza business? Well, Bacio's got you. With Bacio, not only will you get quality cheese, but you also get cash back through their Gold Rewards Club program. For every pound of Bacio cheese that you purchase, you'll earn cash back rewards. That sounds amazing because I'm all about quality. I'm all about a great deal. Use the link in the show notes to learn more and sign up for a demo today. Thank you to Bacio Cheese for sponsoring this episode. Now, back to the podcast.
Yeah, the smalls and the larges are, yeah.
Oiling the workspace.
Yep. We're going to throw down a slick. Pull the hands.
Is this always a 2-person job for the most part?
No, 125 is usually like a 1-person job. So anything 125 or less, we'll just have usually 1 person can tackle. Anything more than that on the busy days, yeah, we go to a 2-person job. So getting the first bit out.
125 dough balls at how many grams?
So we're at 280, and that's, I consider, because we have the larges, remember how I said it's double?
Yeah.
So that's 125 smalls.
Right.
So then right now we're going to do, I think we're going to do, 25 larges and like 75 smalls. So once you get that first bit up, it gets easier.
Oh, do you remember your yeast percentage off the top of your head earlier?
It's pretty high. It's 1 gram per dough ball.
Gotcha.
So it would have been 125. However, when it's summertime like this, I drop it like 10%. So I think I did 110. So I don't know what that comes out to, Baker math percentage.
That's fine. 1 gram per dough ball is pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gives people a heads up.
Yeah.
You definitely get your workout in
Yeah.
managing dough.
Yeah, you do.
Do you have to manage the dough on the table a certain way? Like, I see you kind of folding it over.
Yeah, so I like to get it as, I don't know how you call it, as much of a rectangle and the same thickness as I can.
Across the table.
Yep. So it'll make it easier to cut and pan that way.
Interesting.
So I'm trying to get it, you can kind of see I'm building a rectangle here.
Yeah.
And
I see you had like a methodology to it, so I had to ask.
yep, yes. There is a rhyme or reason. So, always around the hook is a little tricky. What I do is I just kind of break it off from around the hook, and then it can usually pull that last part. Looks like our reverse didn't do the best job today, but
What didn't do the best job today?
there's a little bit of dry flour in here.
Oh.
That's all right. So, once we've got our mass, then I like to oil it so we don't get a skin. And then I'll press it. And this is where I try to form that nice, try to get a similar depth across. You know, there's going to be some higher and lower, but the closer we can get, the better.
Super interesting.
That's pretty. I'd say
that's a legit rectangle right there.
pretty darn rectangular here.
Yeah. I wonder if there's like a mold you could get.
Like
So-
a big, like a
yeah.
PVC box or something.
Yeah, that you can like, I don't know if that would make it easier or harder.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's kind of nice to be able to just kind of pull it up and maneuver it.
Yeah.
And now you can really start to see the benefit, I think, of the kind of like under mixing a little bit.
It's not fighting you.
It's not fighting me. It's very extensible. It kind of goes where I want.
Yeah.
And like I said, this is 70, but I don't think it
Nah.
feels like 70. It handles really well. So the thought behind getting it like this is now once we have this kind of mass here, then we'll start to cut our dough balls. We're gonna do our largest first. So now I'll cut just rectangles like this.
Whoa.
We'll cut rectangles like this. And now we've got 550. Now you have your rectangular square, goes in the rectangle square, which is easier to press out as a rectangle.
Okay. And a helpful tip is to try to get it as close to one blob as possible.
Yes, yep. And one little finesse thing I do if you have to like cut or add, and this is just kind of like best practice, is I have the top of the dough here, I'll cut it, and then I'll flip it so the bottom is up. So that way if I need to add anything, then I'm just adding it to the underside. And then when I put it in the pan or when Kinsey grabs it, she'll flip it in the pan. So that way you don't have like these loose add-on pieces of dough on the top, they're buried under the bottom.
Gotcha. I must switch on over to Kinsey to see.
Yeah, see how she's doing there?
Okay, so were you stretching these out just from like edge to edge?
Yeah, you kind of just press them.
Just like
to the
gym plum.
edges.
Yeah.
Ah, gotcha.
Here, we got a couple, we can throw two in there so we can show you those, because
Yeah,
I'm just gonna keep cutting here.
And you just put them right by the pizza master to let them heat up?
Yeah, so we stack them up this way. So this is where we'll put all of our doughs that are stacked with the first press. And then we'll start from the top and we'll pull them this way to do the final press. Build them up right here, and then we par bake. So we're kind of making like an L.
Gotcha.
Like I'm going this way, and then I'm coming back this way.
Okay.
So I would say we definitely don't have the smallest kitchen in the world, but it is kind of like
This pass
snug
here.
for this operation.
After you press this out, Kinsey, like, do you press it again?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, so we do another round where we pull basically the sides over to the corners
I see.
and then really flatten it out to the whole pan.
Got it. So you want like a very even press out, right? Okay,
Yeah.
very interesting.
The closer we can get it on that first press, the easier and quicker that second press is. And then all it does is just sit and proof for an hour or two, or whenever it's ready to toss in the oven and par.
What do you, I mean, we'll probably see it later, but like, what are you looking for when it's, are you looking for a doubling in size, a tripling?
I'd say, yeah, probably a doubling.
And will it rise more in the oven too?
Yes, yeah, it will definitely get some, it'll get some good oven spring and pop up a little bit. Also with this process, I don't exactly know why, but Obviously, the debate about par baking is their shrinkage, and I feel like my shrinkage is minimal with this process.
Interesting.
I don't fully know exactly why, but I'm happy it is.
Huh.
And I'll show you, once I get a couple more cut, I'll show you some of the par. So those are all of our old doughs. So I'll show you what they look like kind of hanging out.
So about 2 days is the shelf life.
2 days is what I like for room temp. If you fridge them, you could go a lot longer. I know Jeff at Rectangle, they have a commissary. I mean, they have a huge fucking team.
Yeah.
And I know that I think they're doing dough morning and night, 7 days a week, and they fridge all theirs to help with the shelf life. But since I'm just one shop, I don't really feel the need to fridge them all the time. Because also, I don't know, my father-in-law is a baker, and like fridging bread is not the best. It actually deteriorates it quicker.
Yep. That's what Brian says too. Brian Spangler.
Freezing, for whatever reason, works really well.
Yes.
But fridge does not.
Yes.
I'm guessing it's the relative humidity, maybe.
I don't know the science behind it, but I think he said something about it, like just makes it more stale over time.
Yeah, yep.
But the science behind it, no idea.
Yeah, so I try to avoid it at all costs.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Toss that right there. That'll fold back in.
Ah, so you had like a whole piece. You didn't want to have to break it up, so you just put it back in the dough to help reincorporate.
That probably was the size of a small, but because we're doing larges right now, I just folded it back in.
Gotcha.
Depends how far along in the cutting I am. If we were close to doing the smalls, I might have just put it in a small pan.
How do you determine, I think we were talking about it earlier, but I'm not sure if you were mic'd up, but like how do you determine how much you need to make, and do you ever sell out?
We do sell out, but not as often as we used to. We have it pretty dialed. I kind of treat every day, it's like I was saying before we started, we're pretty consistent. So like, I kind of know within pretty good reason, especially now that we've done a year, I kind of know how much pizza we're going to sell in a day. So I also go into every day assuming it could be my busiest day ever for that day. So I'll do I like to have 10 or 20% on hand higher than what I think the most is we will sell. So like today, we had 50 or so to start the day, but like I said, I'm trying to get ahead for the weekend. So like today, if we open, I doubt.
You might have extra.
We're probably going to be up a day. I probably would have had, 100 would have been a good day. So I made 125 to have extra on top.
Gotcha.
But we can't, there's random days that catch us off guard, or there's random days because we're a full service restaurant. We're not just pizza. Some days get super pizza heavy. Some days it's more blended between drinks, appetizer, salads. So for whatever reason, Sundays are wildly pizza heavy. The most pizzas we sell of any day of the week for whatever reason, but it's not our biggest sales day. So Sundays are tough because we have to have all this pizza dough on hand, but we're coming off of Saturday, which is our biggest day. So it's tough to have a big reserve of pizzas and do all the prep and get it all ready coming off of a Saturday, but it's also not our best day of the week. You know what I mean?
What's your theory on Sunday being the busiest pizza day?
I don't know. I think it's maybe more like a family outing type day, or I don't know what it is, but it seems to be a lot more family, a lot more takeout. I have I got a dude in Colorado Springs he started doing a pop-up, and he's only Sundays. And I think Sundays are working super well for him. I know I've also spoke with Vincent Rotolo at Good Pie. He said Sundays are their busiest day. I also don't know why.
What's the dude out in Colorado Springs?
So his name is Joel.
Joel, pizzeria name?
So he just started a pop-up. It's called Pizza Aria. So it looks like pizzeria, but it's a capital A-R-I-A. And he's doing a pop-up out of a bakery that he used to do a pizza program at that bakery. And then they got rid of the pizza program. He left the bakery. And then now he's trying to kind of get his own shop going, like how I did, kind of roll it through a pop-up. And he's having some really good success, and he's back in that same bakery. So he just started maybe like 2 months ago, and he's really scaling up nicely.
That's nice.
How many more larges we got, Kinsey? 7?
I like give myself a mental high five every time I weigh the dough.
And it's perfect?
And it's perfect.
I do too. It's so satisfying.
It's so satisfying. I feel like I have it down pretty nicely with like my 240, 250 gram dough ball because it fits nicely in my hand.
Oh, sure.
But like with a 500, I would not know where to begin.
I like to start with 500 because I usually miss on 500, but 280. It is about the size of my hand when I look at it like this.
Yeah.
So if I hit the right strip and then you just hit it like this, you can get it pretty good.
Oh, yours. Oh yeah. I forget yours are strips. I like literally just like
grab a ball,
fist it, and tends to work out.
Cool. Okay. So that is 1/3 of the doughs.
Damn. Do you think your product spoke for itself and that's why people love the pizza here? Or did you have to do like a bunch of marketing?
I've done very minimal marketing.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things one of the goals I was trying to take on, trying to get out of the kitchen more and work more on the business side of things. I was trying to grow our following and stuff like that, but it's really kind of just been growing itself, especially with kind of the word of mouth and some of this, like the stuff I do with you and some of the other like kind of collaborators and stuff like that. It's all been really like organic, which is cool. And I think there's still a lot of that like carryover from us being a pop-up and kind of having that novelty a little bit.
Yeah. That novelty is something I think about a lot, dude.
Yeah, people just really like yeah, that's good. People really like just like, I don't know, people like a pop-up. People like new. People like an exclusive thing. And I think people like the story, you know? Itself, that gets them in the door, but then them trying the product, that is what is like getting them to come back and like tell more people about it.
Yes.
Because if it was bullshit, they'd try it once and not tell anyone and never come back. So
I feel that, dude.
Oh yeah, here's one of these doughs. Let's see if it's a good one. Yeah, so this is how the doughs look once they've been par baked. So pretty minimal shrinkage.
Yeah.
Good rise, pretty good color on the bottom there. And that's kind of what we're looking for.
Beautiful.
I'm going to have to fridge these today, unfortunately, but...
Do you have a lot of fridge space?
I do, yeah. We have 2 walk-ins downstairs. We have a beer one and a food one.
What are we putting on there?
So this is roasted garlic.
Nice.
That we roast in-house in Corto 5149.
Nice, dude.
Rosa Grande pepperoni. But we order, it's a specialty. It's their 8 slice per ounce. So it's a really thick cut. Yep.
Oh, I can't wait, dude. I have not had a thick pepperoni in a minute.
Nah?
Do you like them, right?
This is the only kind I've used for the last couple of years. I've had to special order it from a bunch of my reps. I love this product. And no one in this area is using this super thick cut too.
I'm so excited.
So we go pretty heavy.
The Restaurant Depot that I go to doesn't give me an option. It's
they don't?
It's all thin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it Rosa Grande as well?
They started carrying Rosa Grande like last year.
Okay.
And like I pay the premium to like do it on Instacart.
Oh yeah.
And not have to wait.
Oh okay.
Yeah.
We do parm on our pepperonis.
Yes.
Grande parm. Little Italian seasoning. And then we do our hand-pinched sausage on this one.
Are you doing grande cheese too?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
We are a grande family here. The ricotta, the parm, and the cheese. It is their mozzarella cheddar provolone blend.
Okay. Wait, is that already pre-shredded?
Yeah.
I had no idea they had that.
I don't got any up here, but well, I don't have any up here.
all
But
good.
yeah, it's the pre-shred. Yep.
And is that nitrogen flush too? Like no anti-caking in
Yep.
that?
Yeah.
Sausage?
Yeah, sausage. We do our sausage in house.
Dope.
We use two kinds. I use a sliced sausage here. We use this for two of our pizzas, a white sauce pizza and a different pizza for just a different look, a different texture. But the majority of our sausage is this hand pinched.
Okay. That sliced sausage is from...
That is a Greco product. We'll stage this one because I'll drop this in the New York at the same time.
Same bake time?
They're different, but I want the New York done first and then we'll finish the Detroit.
Why did you start offering New Yorks? I noticed pretty recently, right?
Yeah, New Yorks are something I've been working on for quite some time, a good amount of last year. But like when I started Detroit's, I don't feel comfortable serving anything until it's very much how I want it. And it took me a long time to get it to where I want it. So it wasn't until it was around the start of this last year, I started popping up in Hudson under a different name. So I actually created like a different Instagram, different everything. So I could mostly sell New Yorks, but under a different brand. So if it sucked, no one would know that it was Melt. But everyone saw me in there pretty much right away and knew it was me. So that's kind of where I kind of created a little pop-up offshoot within the business to work on this next product. And I kind of spent 3-4 months over there doing it twice a week to really get it fucking dialed. And once it was dialed and where I wanted it, then I launched it here.
Dude, you're genius, man.
I just wanted to make sure it was like what I wanted before I put this name on it.
That's really
You have
fucking
to, yeah.
smart. I
So
like
yeah,
that.
now I've been doing these. So now we do them Monday, Tuesdays here. And I actually do these Thursday, Fridays in Hudson. I'm actually doing New York's 4 days a week right now. And it's allowed me a chance to like start to, I had to figure it out for myself first, but now that it's where I want it, now I can start to teach my staff how to do it and scale it. So I don't know that this at Melt Pizza here, you'd ever see both of these on the menu at the same time, but I do think we'll keep selling these like as a special. Because I think people like the novelty of it a little bit too. I do admittedly have a New York place right down the road, Victoriano. She does good stuff. So not trying to be intentionally nice, but I do happen to run New York's on the 2 days she's closed.
Got it.
So I think it does create a little bit further demand in this immediate area.
Okay, so I think you run it on Monday and Tuesday, right?
Yep, correct.
And you don't run any Detroits on that day? Is that what you're
We
saying?
do run Detroit's too.
Oh,
So it's a special. You can get any of our pizzas on the menu on a New York on Mondays and Tuesdays, as well as Detroit's too.
and how are the initial sales going?
Very well. People love them. I would say most weeks I've been selling out and I'm doing about 20 to 25 per day, which is pretty good for like a dinner rush. You know, on a Monday or Tuesday, we'll sell anywhere from like 70 to, now that we're in summer here, maybe 80 or 100 pizzas on a Monday, Tuesday. So it's a pretty good portion, but it's definitely not like overtaking Detroit's.
What's the weight on that dough ball?
This is a 14 inch that I'm doing at 14 ounces.
And then same dough or different dough?
Completely different dough. Yep, completely different. This is 90% Artisan Baker Craft Plus, 10% T85 with a 20% poolish at 60% hydration, 2.5% salt, no oil. So this is a much tighter, more like what I would call quote unquote traditional New York style. I might bump the hydration and try to create like a neo, you know, like a neo New York, that new kind of thing, a New York 2.0.
Yeah.
But I've been trying to kind of master like what I would call a true
New York first.
New York first, yep. With a little bit of that dark browning from the T85.
And then for your pop-ups, I know we're just like popping them, but like, do you just keep the dough cold and stretch?
Yep,
Or
yeah.
do you ever temper them out? No?
No, I pretty much keep them all cold.
Gotcha.
I've pretty much learned how to slap them out cold, so I just kind of stuck with that.
Nice. I noticed you sort of degassed it a little bit before taking it out of the
wrapper there, yeah.
That was a nice trick.
Yeah. So that was again this the saran wrap thing and the degassing. This was all from watching Brian Spangler videos, so I definitely want to go see how he does pizzas at his place.
Brian, we got to get you back on the podcast doing this shit, man.
Have you been out to his place?
Yeah, multiple times.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah, and like he's we used to like talk a lot on the phone, dude.
Okay.
He was like a good mentor for a good minute. We stopped talking.
Oh, did you?
Actually, yeah, I should call him up just to say hi.
Was it him or was it Adam Alpaya that I ran into you and Brian at Expo? I think he came to watch you compete.
Oh, Adam.
So it must have been Adam.
Yeah. Brian's not a big fan of competitions.
No.
No, he said food isn't a competition. Which, by the way, your pizza was phenomenal.
Oh, that's right. We got to try it. You helped
Yeah.
me demo it.
Did you ever bring that out here?
It's on the menu right now.
Nice.
Yep.
Wait, did you end up going with a masa dough?
I did. Yep.
Yeah. And is it a masa dough here?
Yep.
Good for you, dude.
So it's
How's it selling?
it sells pretty good. I mean, there's definitely a demand for it, but it's so laborious that sometimes I'm out of it for a couple days because it honestly takes me like 4 to 5 labor hours to do everything for it because it's 3 salsas from scratch, it's al pastor from scratch, which takes 3 days, and it's the masa dough from scratch. So
It's too special.
I think I'm probably only going to run it for another like couple weeks and take it off the menu and just run it as an occasional special.
Do you have a slicer for this cheese?
No, this is grande whole milk mozzarella that comes pre-sliced.
Okay. Does that cost more per pound?
Yeah, it's about, I want to say it was like $4 a pound, but
Shit.
for me, I don't want to really spend the money on a slicer
Feel that.
or spend the labor on people slicing.
I feel
So
that.
it's kind of just, I think,
These automated
comes like this,
slicers,
which is great.
Yeah, the automated slicers are a nice little tool, but
those are a couple grand, I think.
yeah, a lot.
They'd be nice if you could afford it.
Yeah. 14-inch pizza, 14-ounce dough.
Mhm.
That's 7 slices of cheese.
7 slices of cheese.
Are they 1 ounce each? Or
I haven't weighed them, but I do believe they're damn close, if not exactly 1 ounce.
And then a ladle of sauce is about 2 ounces?
4, closer to 4.
4 ounces?
Yep. And then we're gonna make. So I'm basically making you our 2 most popular. The OGs are most popular, and then on a New York, I'm gonna do a dream team, which is pepperoni, and then it'll get finished with ricotta, hot honey basil.
Was that parm that you laid on before?
Yes. Yep. Parm there.
Ricotta and hot honey, you said?
Yep.
How many ounces of pepperoni would you say that is?
That's probably 4. Yeah.
Because of the thickness, huh?
Yeah. Check, make sure we're good. We look good.
You know about the twine or the bottle trick?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about twine.
Twine, you just like,
Go under it. Oh
Yep.
shit. Okay.
just in case. Behind you, Kinsey. No, you're okay.
Sorry. There you go. Right in here. That's good on that guy. And we'll
Behind
drop.
you
We'll drop this guy up here. That's why I like having these extra. I can have different temps on these decks.
That's the way.
This
Nice.
is where I pay homage to Jeff, though. We run at 569 because it's funny. I do agree with Jeff. It's funny.
7535 at the bottom. That's hilarious.
Down low here, we're probably going to be 5-6 minutes. The Detroit is going to be 10 to 12. All the pizzas, the red sauce pizzas, get topped with hot red sauce that we hot hold in a well right here.
Gotcha.
So every pizza gets ladled on top at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But since we have these are the only pizzas I'm making today.
Around what temperature do they keep at? Do you know?
I don't know. No. We just set it to like medium-ish.
Got it.
So we'll finish our Detroit with this guy. I got my basil. I got my ricotta.
This is the finish line?
This like little corner is finish line, and then this is all for our
Apps.
saute. So yeah, our pastas. We do pastas, wings, salads, and appetizers. One person does all of those. 2 to 3 to 4 people do nothing but pizza.
So these have been chilling for about an hour or so? Yeah.
Well, yeah, we started at about 10:30. Yeah, about an hour and a half.
This one's corners are pretty good. I always put this on my hands because it's sticky.
And why are we doing the second press? To kind of just get it evenly distributed?
Yep, to get it evenly level, to get it all the way to the corners. And these were a little, because they've been hanging by the oven and we're kind of not doing anything right now, they got a little proof, but that was maybe like 75% close to what I'd be looking for to par bake. So those will build themselves back up over the next hour.
Okay.
And then we'll par bake
we're
them.
going on the second proof and then par bake.
Yep, correct.
Gotcha. And then do you find the, we're talking about this at Expo, but like the unevenness of the bake, do you find that happens still with that second proof, or is it pretty flat and even around?
It's pretty flat because you're kind of degassing it right now.
I see.
So yeah, I don't really have any like ballooning issues or air bubbles or anything when we do this. This process, whatever reason, got rid of ballooning, air bubbles. What else were we talking about? Shrinkage, super sticky, super tacky. I know Kinsey oils are hands. I think Grace does too. My sister and I usually don't.
What do you do then? You get stuck to your hands?
We're just kind of quick. I think it's about
The touch.
the touch, yeah.
Jeff and them use a sheeter.
Do
now,
they use a sheeter? I
Which-
have not talked with him about his process lately.
which I thought was actually, I've never seen anyone do that, and I'm curious to know. Well, I'm sure it works for them, so I'm
Yeah.
curious to see how it would work for my work.
That is interesting. I have a sheeter in the basement.
You do?
Yeah, because we were doing Chicago thin crust for a while.
Well, I didn't realize how important it was to get it super even across. For my Detroits, I've sort of been like pinching them. I mean, like
Okay.
pressing them down,
Dimpling them?
dimpling them,
Yeah.
and it now makes sense why my dough is always uneven.
Mm.
So having this like flattening technique,
Sheeter.
the sheeter, or just like what you all are doing here, could work.
I know that I've talked to Adam before. I didn't take the slow rise class, but he did with Lee Hunzinger. And he uses a dough docker
Yeah,
for his Detroits.
I've seen
Do you
that.
know why?
I would imagine to get it all to get rid of some of those bubbles
Okay.
and kind of getting it. I think a dough docker is used to create holes in your dough so it doesn't blow up traditionally.
Okay.
I
I just never heard of it for Detroit.
Yeah, I've seen it done on a grandma pie.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
That's the bake on that guy.
That's a pretty color.
Come down.
Six slices?
6, yep.
Damn.
And then we go Pecorino Romano
nice.
to finish.
My choice.
With that. And then lately I've been going basil, then ricotta.
I like how you said lately.
I change up my approach every here and
Me
there.
too.
Yeah. Sometimes you just want to see how it looks.
Yeah.
Then I like it. Then I'll change my mind probably. This guy's a little cold. We usually temper this out. Whoops, missed one.
Beautiful.
Have you ever met Mike from Mike's Hot Honey?
I have.
I always want to talk to him at Expo, but I don't know what to say other than like, I love your honey. Is he a cool dude?
He's a cool dude. He's a cool dude. Super chill, down to earth.
Is he?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Very approachable too.
Let's just be ready. Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Six slices?
6.
Nice.
I generally we use spoodles for this, so it's generally 4 ounces. And this guy's gonna get pecorino again in a nice stripe. It's gonna get fresh basil again. And I like to finish it with our Corto infused olive oil.
Nice.
Do you want to get started in your pizza business? Well, the way I got started was by cooking pizza in my Ooni oven and selling those pizzas. Now with the Ooni Coda 2 Max, you have enough oven space to make one super big pizza, or you can make 2 at a time. I've even made 6 at a time so that you can truly crank out pizzas, especially when you are in production mode. So if you're looking to start your pizza business and want to buy an Ooni oven, use the link in the show notes. It'll greatly appreciate the show, and send me your receipt. If you use my affiliate link, I'm going to enter you in a chance to win a $250 Ooni gift card. That way you can stretch your dollar further and keep on building your business. You can email me your receipt, idriff@whatsgooddough.com, or DM me on Instagram @whatsgooddough. But make sure to use that affiliate link.